Caught my GF having lasagna party and doing green tea, dumped her immediately. Okay, to preface, I'm from Britain, so when I say college, I mean grade 12 to 13 and uni is grade 14 to 16. I also have ADHD and had struggled with depression a lot when growing up, and my girlfriend, I'll just call her that for simplicity, has had a long history of depression. I'm not sure how these will factor in the story, but it's just more context. I met my girlfriend in October 2019, the first year of college, grade 12. We got along very well as we both loved the same music and films, etc. Fast forward to about March of 2020. At this point we were inseparable. Not one day would go by without us talking for hours on FaceTime, Snapchat, or in person. I had also fallen out with a lot of my friends and only had like 2 left, and she stuck by me all the way. Then obviously COVID hit, and we all went into lockdown. We grew even closer throughout lockdown to the point that we would go to sleep together every night on FaceTime. I know, a bit cringy. Fast forward some more to October of 2020, we were out of lockdown, and in a second and final year of college. We went on a date and had our first kiss, and promptly after we started dating, we used to say it was 2 years of dating because we basically were before we actually made it official. All was well until I started noticing things. She had joined a new group of friends. They were all quite edgy and pretentious, but I didn't care until a boy of the group, let's call him Owen, got increasingly closer to my girlfriend. It got to the point where if her and I had some argument, I would see them walking around together, her seemingly really happy. This started to make me paranoid, especially after seeing posts on Instagram of them together, just them, in a store. Obviously me being paranoid took it up with her, and she would argue that I'm being paranoid and overprotective. That's until I looked through her phone. I know I shouldn't have. I find texts with him saying, "Owen, I love you MG. I love you more XX and crap like your lips are really pung." Pung being British slang for hot. After about a week of arguing and a lot of sleepless nights, I finally got her to stop talking to him. Fast forward to December 2020, all was well until one night I was round hers. Her phone goes off, and it's a notification on Snapchat from a different name, so she starts trying to grab the phone really shadily. I open it, and it is Owen, but she had changed his name. It was 3 a.m., and he texted her pictures of them together in a pub. I flipped out and started crying because at this point I was starting to trust her again, and she seemed actually regretful, and she promised to never talk to him again. She actually told the truth as he started being really weird to some other girls in the group, touching them up and pretend humping them, etc. So they all basically told him to duck off. Fast forward to April of 2021, things were actually really good between us, and I started becoming less paranoid. She had found a new friendship group, and they seemed really nice. They were all girls, and a lot of them were in the year below. May was our last month there, and it was the final year, so she started becoming increasingly worried about the fact that she was taking a gap year. But I was going to uni. Fast forward to September of 2021. Over the summer she had started seeing her friends almost twice a week. Obviously, I didn't care about that, but she had started smoking green tea with them more and more. Again, I didn't care, but I think I should have. As the closer it got to me going to uni, the more she would go out, and the more she would smoke. She now had a job full-time to keep her busy in the gap year. This meant she was only free every weekend. I didn't care much because as long as I got to see her I was fine. Fast forward to now, I'm in uni about an hour away from her on train, very easy to get to, but for the past 2 months she had not seen me in person, and she had become increasingly shadier. Every week she would come up with some excuse about why she couldn't come to mine. She would also frequently go days without talking to me, and she would blame it on her friend not having a charger for her phone. This happened multiple times. On Halloween she told me she had a party with the girls just round one of their houses. She promised that the only guy going was one of the girls' boyfriends. I obviously trusted her. She also told me that her job had changed her hours, so she couldn't see me for 2 weeks, and that the week after that, this weekend 26th to 27th, her brother was coming home for the weekend, so couldn't see me. I believe her. Yesterday, I hadn't heard from her all day and assumed she was picking her brother up at the train station. I looked at Snap Maps and it said she was at the train station 2 hours ago. I shrugged it off thinking maybe she was waiting for him. I go on Instagram, which I use about every 3 months. I see that someone had tagged her in a post the day before. This was weird given the fact that she never had been tagged before from what I remembered. I click it. It's the Halloween party. and it's a photo of her and some girls in a room full of about 8 boys on an account she doesn't follow. However, she had liked the post. I obviously lose my crap and bring it up with her. She doesn't respond. I look on Snap Maps to see where she is. She had turned her maps off, so now I know she had looked at my text to her. I now get extremely annoyed. I go back on that account that posted it. It's some boy. I look at the other tags. It a girl my girlfriend always said she hated. I see on her story that she was at my girlfriend's house 2 hours ago. Next story was of 5 boys sat on a couch at my girlfriend's house with my girl with them. One of the boys is Owen. I then find that for the past 5 to 6 months she had been meeting these boys without telling me and smoking green tea and doing acid with them round their houses. I feel like a ducking idiot. She constantly gaslighted me, hit me, manipulated me, and I took the brunt of it because I genuinely fell in love with her. I don't know what to do. I keep thinking about her and that fact that she most likely cheated on me. I can't sleep and I think I'm going to spiral back into depression. Crazy wife insisted on open relationship to cheat with her boss and ran away with my money. To summarize the basics. M37 F29, the breakup was about a month and a half ago. She is in medicine, so I was with her through the last 2 years of med school, traveled with her to 6 different cities as she completed externships, internships, and finally settled on a staff position at the beginning of August. This was to be our final move after all of the hard years of her not making much, working insanely long hours, moving and traveling nonstop, etc. We had finally made it, and the good times were about to start. She started sleeping with the medical director within 4 weeks of arrival, while I handled all of the move-in tasks. Early in the relationship, we had tried a one-sided open relationship. She could be with women, and I would remain monogamous to her. To say it went horrendously would be a disservice to the extreme behavior she exhibited. I read every book there was on open relationships, talked through how it should go with her for months, but as soon as she was with someone, all agreements went out the window, and she did whatever she wanted, then lied about all of it. We attempted the impossible, to re-establish trust after repeated betrayals, and I trusted her that no matter what, you can bet on the fact that I will never treat you that way again. I read every book there was on rebuilding trust, healing betrayal, etc., while she finished medical school. Just before we made the final move to the city where she settled on her staff position, she brought up wedding rings, and how we should use her grandmother's stone and save for a house. I told everyone I knew that I planned to propose to her by the end of the year. Then suddenly, 6 weeks into the move, when I had just about finished making the apartment homey, she broke up with me, with reasons that seemed to lack substance. I don't like how you deal with stress being a main one, and despite all of my pleas to go to therapy to handle stress better, much of the stress was because I was handling everything from moving to finances, while working 12 hours a day to make it work through her final years of school, etc. She said there was no chance. In addition, she suddenly was acting with complete resentment towards me, palpable contempt. It was all so disorienting. I asked if there was someone else, and she vehemently said no. She continued to lie about it as I scrambled to figure out what city I should move to, what to do with all of the furniture I bought, etc. Finally, I looked in her phone, and not only was she sleeping with her boss, they were planning on a trip to meet the parents while I was still physically in town, just 10 days after the breakup. When I finally revealed that I knew what was happening, giving her all of the chances to be honest, begging her even, her reaction was of anger towards me. I waited in my car for 2 hours as she packed to go on a trip to meet her lover's parents, as I begged her to be quick. That was the last time I saw her, and she not only stiffed me on money despite the fact that her company gave her relocation costs, I paid for everything, but blocked me on everything. The closing conversation I received was prior to me finding out she was cheating on me, and I blamed the breakup on myself. After all, if there was no one else, and she knows I would do anything for her, and I was good to her, it must be my fault. I never got an actual discussion about what transpired, and she is firmly of the belief that apparently sleeping with her boss has nothing to do with anything, and everything is my fault. I'm feeling the need to write a letter to explain my feelings, wish them the best, as I'm really not good with leaving things on a horrible note. There's no reason for it. But I know the common wisdom on Reddit is to never send a closure letter, so I'm torn. There's so much left unsaid from my end. I just don't know how to just drop such a significant person like nothing we went through meant anything. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. Sorry dude, you were a doormat the whole relationship. She used you until she found something better. What's the point of finding out why? Best thing is get therapy for yourself, don't drink, it will make it worse for you. What the benefit for her to say I lied and cheated? None. OP reply. The bizarre thing is that as soon as she started seeing the medical director, she suddenly had nothing but contempt for me. They came up with the determination that I was emotionally misusive, and that's a pretty serious charge. How did she manage to pull that off? She told the medical director that I got angry at her for cheating on me multiple times in the beginning of the relationship, but left out the cheating part, so it just seemed like I was an angry a-hole for no reason. Every ex I have laughed at the idea that I am emotionally misusive in any way in general, all having been in relationships with me, so that made me feel better at least. But the desire to correct the record due to the sheer injustice is strong. Simply copy the medical director on what actually happened, state my feelings about it, and wish them the best. Comment 2. Sorry to say this, but you are probably like an afterthought to her at this point, and any further contact would simply annoy her more and not what you intend to do. I understand that feeling where you still want to end on good terms and say your goodbye, hope you're happy statements, but there are situations where doing so would not do any good but for you. And so if it is that important to you that you say it, then by all means, but just realize that it wouldn't mean anything to her/them, and would just be laughed at or considered an annoyance. OP reply. You're probably right. Pretty brutal stuff though. I suppose I feel like the person I used to know is in there somewhere, and might care in some way. But I suppose not, and she wins all around, my money, new relationship, no breakup sadness, no guilt about how it went down, no interest in talking to me again, the scheduling and financial perks that come along with ducking the medical director, and in the a-hole. Just brutal. Girlfriend accidentally uncovered her own affair and used my money, but I gave her ultimatum. For context, we have been dating for 3 years and lived together. For the past while there has been a lack of intimacy in our relationship. She has taken medicine that lowers her libido, and she has recently been diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety. I haven't been the most supportive since I thought she was just neglecting me, but after the diagnosis, I see that a lot of behavior is ADHD, and I just needed to be patient for her to work through her mental condition. Then she went with her parents to a festival. She was going on a trip the next weekend, so I really wanted her to come home so I could spend time with her. When she got home, I was bothered by the lack of communication, so I snooped on her phone. I know that is bad. I saw a message that she told her stepmom she was being flirty with another guy at a bar after the festival. That bothered me, and I confronted her about it. We got that cleared and I felt more comfortable about the situation. I found out later that my snooping affected her quite a bit. She went on her vacation in Seattle, and everything seemed fine. When she returned every single weekend, she went to her friend's house. That bothered me as I really wanted to try to increase intimacy, and she kept neglecting me. I was open to her about all of this, but I think it came off as nagging. Eventually it got to the point where I confronted her about what she wanted in our relationship. She said she wasn't sure of what she wanted, and if she even wanted to be a couple anymore. This took me extremely off guard since just 2 months ago she was asking what was holding me back from proposing to her. She said she feels stuck, because even if she wanted to break up she couldn't since she lives with me, her family loves me, and her computer, which she spends almost all of her time on, is actually mine. The next week I was trying really hard to be super supportive. I genuinely think that I haven't been, and have only driven her away from me, increasing her anxiety. This week I have been trying to remove any stress I have been causing, and have been making an extra effort to show appreciation. She has been pretty appreciative of me as well, and has initiated many I love yous and displays of affections. Part of me thinks she is doing this because she is now afraid I might leave her. On the way back from Thanksgiving dinner with her family, she asked me thoughts on a polygamist relationship or threesomes. She is bi and has never had a sexual experience with another woman. She sometimes feels like she missed out on that. I said that I would be afraid that those could destroy our relationship. I also said that I might be open to a threesome if we have rebuilt our trust in our relationship and were more sexually active with each other again. However, she is gone again this weekend. My insecurities got the best of me, and I snooped her search history. Well, she accidentally was browsing on my Google account, so I just looked at my own Google account history. She was searching for places to go trail hiking. She hates hiking. I also saw that she was looking how to have safe back sex and how to prepare for it. She knows that I don't like back sex, and she says she has always said she doesn't like it either. I then checked her email. I am a terrible person, I know, and she was looking for apartments, and I saw that she has scheduled meetings on the weekends when she is with her friends. I also checked her Discord, and she vented to her best friend about snooping her phone a month ago, and how I am just looking for things she is doing wrong. Now I feel like my original snooping has caused everything in the relationship to fall apart. I now think she is cheating on me and have broken our bond, all because of my stupid insecurities from the beginning. She never wants to talk about how we can help our relationship repair, and she doesn't want to do therapy. Any discussion about our relationship causes anxiety for her, she says. I have done individual therapy myself, which has helped with my own anxiety and insecurities. Even if she has cheated on me, I would be willing to work through it if she is willing to, but I have never gotten solid enough proof to accuse her, and I am afraid of asking her if she is. This week I have been working hard to be supportive of her mental illness, and our relationship seems better, but I think she could possibly be doing this to avoid me leaving her. She has been gone every weekend, and this weekend my insecurities got the best of me, and I snooped again, finding that she has been looking for other apartments, and she has been looking how to have back sex comfortably. We aren't having back or really talked about it. I love her enough that I would be willing to work through any infidelity with therapy. Should I ask her if she has been cheating? Should I provide an ultimatum of therapy or break up? Should I just break up? Am I crazy and overreacting?